Okay, now we are going to look at the Gauss's law. We start the derivation of the Gauss's law by considering the field around a point charge Q. See, we have a point charge here. The field around the point charge is represented by the field lines. We know the field around a point charge is in radial direction. Okay, so that is shown here, and we consider or we determine the flux passing through a sphere of radius r around this point charge. So we consider sphere of radius r around the point charge, and we determine the flux of the electric field through this. We know the flux is given by integral surface E dot dA. We have seen that the flux through any surface that is given by integral surface E dot dA. So that is equal to integral 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q by r square. This is the field due to a point charge, unit vector r, that shows the field is in radial direction. And dA is a small area element that is actually in spherical. We are considering this in spherical polar coordinate system because it is more convenient to us here, because we have a sphere. We are considering a sphere and we are integrating over the surface of the sphere. So spherical polar coordinate system, we have three coordinates r, theta and phi. These are the three coordinates. We have studied it. So for a sphere of radius r, this r will be fixed. Theta and phi will vary over the surface. Okay, so when we integrate over the surface, theta and phi will vary. R will remain fixed, which is the radius of the sphere that we are considering around the point charge. So the area element dA or ds, that is r square sine theta d theta d phi unit vector r. So this is the area of a small element considered on the sphere of radius r square sine theta d theta d phi. So that we substitute here the vector area, the area vector dA, its direction is also in the radial direction, that is shown by the unit vector r. So this is our integral E dot dA. Okay, for E we are giving this value 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q by r square unit vector r, and for the area element it is r square sine theta d theta d phi unit vector r. Okay, so we substitute that and we take q by 4 pi epsilon 0 outside the integral, and we have this integration with respect to phi. Phi actually changes from 0 to 2 pi. Okay, and theta changes from 0 to pi, and we have this r square cancelling out. R square here, that is very important to us. R square in the denominator of the electric field, that gets cancelled by r square in the dA, the area element dA or ds. So r square get cancelled, so we are left with the sine theta d theta d phi. Okay, that unit vector r will not be there because r dot r, here we have this r, unit vector r in electric field and unit vector r in the area also. So r dot r, that will be 1, so that r will not be there. So we have this q by 4 pi epsilon 0 integral sine theta d theta d phi. the integration with respect to phi, integral 0 to 2 pi d phi, that is equal to 2 pi, and integral 0 to pi sine theta d theta, okay, that will be equal to 2, because as we integrate sine theta, we will get minus cos theta, and the limits are 0 and pi. So this is q by 4 pi epsilon 0 into 2 pi minus cos theta. When we apply the limits, you will get 2. Okay, so ultimately you are going to get q by epsilon 0. Okay, so what we calculated is the flux integral surface E dot dA. We calculated this, the flux through a surface of sphere of through the surface of a sphere of radius r, and that we ultimately got as q by epsilon 0. Okay, that is equal to q by epsilon 0. And what we have to see here is the radius of the sphere gets cancelled out. In this calculation we have seen r square get cancelled, so the radius of the sphere gets cancelled out. Okay, now in terms of the field line picture, this is quite expected result. That is, what we have seen is, for any sphere of any radius r, we will have the same result. That is what is actually meant by the cancelling of the r square. We can choose sphere of any radius r, you will get the same result. Okay, the flux through sphere of any radius, that will be equal to q by epsilon 0. Okay, why we are getting it like that? Because the same number of field lines pass through any sphere centered at the origin, okay, regardless of its size. So here we see two spheres, S1 and S2 are the surfaces of these spheres, and we see the same number of field lines passing through S1 and S2. Okay, here we have two spheres, sphere of surface S1, sphere of surface S2, and we see the same number of field lines pass through S1 and S2. Okay, so the radius of the sphere that we consider is immaterial. Okay, the same number of field lines pass. In fact, the next idea is quite important. In fact, it need not be a sphere. The surface that we are consider need not be a sphere. Any surface, whatever be its shape, would trap the same number of field lines. Okay, see the surface S3. It is not a sphere, but the number of field lines passing through S1, S2 and S3 are same. Okay, so the surface that we consider need not be a sphere. Any surface, okay, whatever be its shape, okay, its shape can be any shape, would trap the same number of field lines. So we arrive at an important idea regarding this. The flux through any surface enclosing the charge is q by epsilon 0. So the surface need not be a sphere. Any surface enclosing the charge, if you calculate the flux, that will be equal to q by epsilon 0. So for a point charge, we have got this result. Point charge of q, the flux through any surface enclosing it, that is equal to q by epsilon 0. Now suppose that instead of a single charge at the origin that we considered now, we have a number of charges. Okay, we have a number of charges scattered about, q1, q2, q3, q4. Okay, we have a number of charges. Now the total field is simply the vector sum of all individual fields due to the individual charges. So q1 will have field around it, q2 will have field around it, q3 will have field around it, q4 also will have field around it. So The total field is simply the vector sum of all individual charges, vector sum of all individual fields, isn't it? Because we have this superposition principle. So from superposition principle, vector E is equal to E1 plus E2 plus E3 plus like that. If you have a number of charges, that is equal to sigma I EI. Okay, sigma I EI. Thus, the flux through any surface that encloses them all is integral integral E dot dA, that is equal to integral sigma I EI dA. So that is equal to sigma I equal to 1 to n integral EI dot dA. That circle in the integral that denotes the closed surface. Thing is, it is a closed surface. We have to consider closed surface. So this is equal to, we know integral EI dot dA, that is equal to QI by epsilon 0. So we are getting sigma I equal to 1 to n QI by epsilon 0. That is equal to Q enclosed by epsilon 0. And what is Q enclosed? That is sigma I QI. That is the total charge enclosed within the surface. So this is Gauss's law. Okay. So sigma I QI, that is Q enclosed, is the total charge enclosed within the surface. So we have the Gauss's law, which says the flux through any closed surface is equal to the total charge enclosed by epsilon 0. Okay, so flux through any closed surface, that is equal to the total charge enclosed in it, enclosed by the surface, by epsilon 0. Okay, and we will see it as a number of applications that we will see later on. Now we look at the differential form of Gauss's law. Okay, differential form of Gauss's law. So Gauss's law can be converted into a differential one for continuous charge distributions by applying the divergence theorem. We are applying the divergence theorem, and instead of single point charges, we are considering continuous charge distribution, a volume charge. See a volume charge here, and S is a surface enclosing this volume charge. Okay, and for this surface, we have this integral E dot dA, the flux, that is equal to, by divergence theorem, that is equal to volume enclosed by that surface, del dot T d tau. Okay, del dot T d tau, that is the divergence theorem. Now you take the Q enclosed. Q enclosed by this volume, Q enclosed by this volume, this surface S, that is integral volume rho d tau. Okay, the charge density is here, rest of the region charge density is 0. So if you calculate the charge enclosed by this surface, it's given by integral volume rho d tau. So this is Q enclosed, and this is the flux. Now we know by Gauss's law, flux is equal to charge enclosed by epsilon 0. We apply that. So that is integral volume del dot T d tau, integral volume rho d tau by epsilon 0. Okay, so this holds for any volume. Okay, this holds for any volume. So we can say del dot E. Okay, the volume that we consider is an arbitrary one. So the volume del dot T on the left hand side, that is equal to rho by epsilon 0 on the right hand side. So del dot T equal to rho by epsilon 0. This is the differential form of the Gauss's law, which is applicable to volume charge distributions. Okay, so integral form of the Gauss's law, that is that we can apply for the point charges, for the line charge, for the area charge, for the volume charge. But this one is applicable for the volume charge only. The differential form of Gauss's law is applicable for volume charge only.